Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Live with Mel. The Biden administration is set to reveal its $1.8 trillion spending and tax proposal. Now, this plan is called the American Families Plan and is being put in place to help families in America. Now, hundreds of billions of dollars will be going towards childcare, paid family leave, tuition-free community college, medical leave, and a lot of other things. Now, this plan is just a plan right now, and it has to go through Congress in order to become a law. Now, while this plan has a lot of good things for family, it's looking as though this plan will have a hard time going through Congress because many Republicans aren't on board with everything that's within the plan. Now, again, this plan touches a lot of different aspects. Now, it touches childcare, paid family and medical leave, tuition-free community college, and a lot of other things. Now, one thing that is in this plan is universal pre-K for 3 and 4-year-olds. Now, we all know that kids can go to kindergarten, but this plan is giving kids 3 and 4 the opportunity to go to preschool. Now, the way that it's set up in this plan at the moment is that it'll be a federal and state partnership, very similar to Medicaid, and it's going to be on a sliding scale. Now, something else that is in this plan is the funding of 2-year colleges or community colleges. Now, we do know that one of the big things on the campaign trail was talking about free college in the United States. And while the United States has a long way to go before we see free 4-year college, if this plan does pass through college, there are things within this plan to ensure that 2-year colleges are fully funded and essentially kind of like a free college. And again, so this would be a state and federal partnership, very much like the preschool program in this plan. So if the states choose, because remember, states have to be part of this as well, but if states choose to opt out of this, the federal government will work directly with schools in order to have this program work out and have school paid for. Now, this will be fully funded 2 years of community college, so free community college for all Americans, but it's not just for Americans. It'll also include undocumented immigrants who were brought into the United States as a child. So not just American citizens, but kids who were brought in. So not all undocumented immigrants, but kids who were brought in with their family and they really didn't have a say. So they would also be eligible for free college in this plan if this plan passes. Another thing that would increase is the Pell Grant. They're looking to increase the Pell Grants and also increase scholarships for future teachers of America. And this plan really does look at teachers as well, because they're trying to have more teachers. They're trying to bring in more teachers. So they want to fund programs for future teachers of America. But also in this plan, when it comes to schooling, they're also going to provide assistance for teachers who want to get more certifications. So guys, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about the plan so far? Again, the price tag is $1.8 trillion, but it is here to help families. The plan has been put together to assist families and to ensure education. Now, education is a big part of this plan when we're looking at preschool, and then when we are looking at 2-year colleges as well. A huge portion of this budget is going to schooling. Now, it's not just only going to schooling, because free college is something that was spoken about on the campaign trail for a very long time. And this plan does outline how the administration can provide free 2-year college. Again, this would only be for 2-year college, free 2-year college for American citizens and for undocumented youth who were brought in here to the United States as a child. But something else that is also talked about in this plan is childcare. Now, when we look at childcare, especially during the pandemic, many economists are saying that one thing that's really slowing down the economy from recovering from the pandemic is childcare. Many daycares are closed. Many people are trying to find a place to put their kids. And childcare costs is astronomical in this country. So about $225 billion in this plan will be focused on or allotted to childcare. Now, the way that this plan is working with childcare, if passed, is that low-income families would have their childcare costs completely taken care of. So childcare costs for low-income families would be completely taken care of. And then as people move up from the low-income families, it would be on a sliding scale where families would only pay a portion of the childcare while the government would take over and handle childcare cost on the government side. Now, this would help out many, many families. And since they're doing it in a way where it is, again, federal-state partnership, they're also looking at increasing the minimum wage for child care providers. So if someone is a child care provider, if someone is working in the child care industry, they're trying to put in place a $15 minimum wage for people who work in childcare. And again, this cost would be for the whole thing for providing low-income families with free childcare, for having on a sliding scale for families who are middle class and above middle class, and for having the $15 minimum wage. The price tag for this portion would be $225 billion. Now, something else that this plan is looking at, because this plan does cover a lot of things. I'm not going to get into everything today because that would take a long time, but this plan is really looking at helping families. Everything in this plan is being put together to help families, whether it's with education, whether it's with childcare, whether it's with paid family leave, which I'll be talking about in a second. But this plan is being put together to help families and help the American people. So Joanna says, well, I don't know how far Congress will let it go. Lowering health insurance premium is a much needed. Education should be number one, and all community colleges should be free. And that really is everything that the plan is talking about. Joanna also says, this plan would build America, but the Republicans are against it because for once, nothing will be going into their pockets. This plan would open new opportunities for those who are struggling, giving opportunities for all Americans to have a better life. And then Way says, why would they come up? This just adds to generational welfare. If I'm getting my child care taken care of, benefits out the butt, why would I want to leave that? Now, when we talk about child care, I'm going to touch on what Wade said. When we talk about child care, if child care is put in place, especially for lower income families, that allows both parents to enter the workforce and work to raise their income. Because at the end of the day, if you're making more money, eventually you will have to start paying for childcare, but you'll be making more money and you can continue to push forward as a family. And many families in low income areas, they need both parents to work. But on the other hand, if it is a single parent household, if there's only one parent in the household, then this also helps as well because it frees up the time. Because if you put the kids into daycare, that allows that one parent, the only parent who's there in the household, to work. So I understand how some people could take advantage of the system, but when you look at if you look at anything, people try and take advantage of anything they can, whether it's low income or whether it is someone who's making billions of dollars. If there's a loophole in place, if there's a way to take advantage of the system, people will. But that should not take away from the people who actually need it. Because when you look at low income families, there are families where both parents absolutely need to work. And then you have other parents where they're in a single family household, single parent household, and they're the only adult in that household for whatever reason it may be. They need to work, but they may not be able to afford the cost of childcare on their own. And a program like this will allow them to put their kids in a safe daycare environment and a safe childcare environment so they can go and work. So it is about helping families. And I know what you're saying, Wade, how people could try and take advantage of it. Don't get me wrong, whether it's low income or whether it's people making multi-million dollars, there's a loophole, there's a way to take advantage of the system. There will always be people trying to take advantage of the system. And then Wade says, I'll rephrase my statement. How do you prevent those taking advantage when they get more benefits and money but not working? Again, there's going to have to be, I guess, some people, I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm going to actually tell you this. There's going to be people taking advantage of the system the same way that people take advantage of systems that are in place right now. But the vast majority of people are using the system the way that it should be. And again, when we see people taking advantage of the system, because when we look at what happened in the pandemic, there were people who truly needed the money, who truly needed unemployment, truly needed a lot of things. And they got it, and they're using the system correctly. But there are those who were taking advantage of the system, and they were lying. And as you see, it's happening slowly, but many of them are dealing with the consequences because the system finally does catch up with people. It may take a long time, but the system does catch up with people, whether it's people reporting them, snitching, if you want to call it, but they do end up getting caught and having to pay back lots of money. I've been seeing it happen a lot. And then Joanna says, exactly, people are so stuck in their bubbles and are so disconnected that they really don't realize how many people are struggling out here and may just need a hand to finally get on their feet. And again, at the end of the day, these programs are put in place to help families. And I know what Wade is saying. I know when Wade was saying that people can take advantage of the system. And don't get me wrong, no matter what you put out there, no matter what you do, people will take advantage of the system if there's a way to take advantage of the system, whether it's low income or whether it's multimillionaires or billionaires. I can go on a whole tangent about billionaires taking advantage of the system. But at the end of the day, there are families in need. And the number of families who are truly in need, who are not taking advantage of the system, greatly outnumbers those who actually take advantage of the system. So yes, there needs to be policies put in place to catch people taking advantage of the system, but not taking away or not adding new things. I don't think that's the way to go. And then Joanna says, yes, many will take advantage of the system. Look at the stimulus. We have too many people who are receiving a check who do not need it. People will always take advantage. And it's true, but that should not stop us from still helping people who are actually in need. Now, something else that is a big part of this plan is paid leave. So they're going to have paid family leave, I think, in the span of 10. So in 10 years, if this bill is passed, it'll be fully completed in 10 years. And in 10 years, I believe they're saying that people will have up to 12 weeks, which is very similar to other countries outside of the United States. And will provide a partial wage replacement. Now, again, this wouldn't happen immediately. There are parts of this plan in which it can take up to 10 years to fully put this plan in place. So not everything is going to change overnight, but the paid family leave is one of those things that will take about 10 years to fully come into play if this plan does go through Congress. Now, the paid family leave would come into play if people were taking care of an ill loved one, something having to do with domestic violence, military deployments, if people are sick. There's a lot of things that will come into play with this paid family leave. However, it's not going to happen overnight. If this plan does pass through Congress this year, it will take about 10 full years to fully see the paid family leave come into play. Now, how will the American people actually pay for this plan? Because again, this is $1.8 trillion. This plan is going to cost the American people $1.8 trillion. And looking at it, about $800 billion would go to tax cuts for the middle class and lower income Americans. And Joe Biden and the Joe Biden administration is looking at raising taxes on the wealthiest Americans and wealthy investors. And a lot of that will happen in this plan if Joe Biden is able to, and he is in the process of doing this, overturning Trump's 2017 tax cuts. So again, there are tax cuts in this plan. There are tax cuts, and Joe Biden is looking to give tax cuts to low-income and middle-class Americans, and is looking to increase taxes. Now, I know a lot of people are afraid of this when we talk about increasing taxes, and I just want to be clear of where they're trying to increase taxes. So it's not people who are upper class. Joe Biden, for this plan, is looking to increase taxes on the wealthiest of the wealthiest. So not necessarily the 1%, but the 0.01%. So most people would not be affected by this, but people who are making, so billionaires will be the ones who are greatly affected by this, and also multi-millionaires. So not your average upper class American. And then going to the comments, Wade says nothing is free, and that is 100% correct. Nothing is free. If we want to put these programs in place, money needs to come from somewhere. There needs to be a plan to get this money. And again, Joe Biden is looking to tax the wealthiest of the wealthiest. And then Jima Allen says, people are hurting now. They need help. It's not right for us to judge a person's situation as far as finances because we don't know what they may be going through. And again, that is something that's really important to see, is that we don't know what most people are going through. And I know a lot of times we look at things and we look at things a lot of times like, oh, people can't take advantage of the system, or people may take advantage of this. But there are a lot of people out there that are struggling, that are suffering, that are going through a lot, and we can't be one to judge. And I think it's okay to put safety programs in place to help people who truly need the help. And then Joanna says, 100%, nothing is never free. And I think nothing is free, so we do have to find ways to pay for these programs. And again, this looks like we're going to pay for the program by taxing the wealthiest of the wealthy. So if you're someone who is upper class and you're afraid of taxes being raised, this is not necessarily affecting you. They're looking for the wealthiest of the wealthiest of the wealthiest. And then Jima Allen says, yes, those are rich and not paying their fair share of taxes need to start paying. And that is something that a lot of Democrats are saying on the campaign trail, is that the wealthiest of the wealthy need to start paying their fair share. We look at these multi-million and billion-dollar corporations who are really not paying their fair share of taxes. So I think they're going to be looking towards that as well to get money and have these companies start paying their fair share of taxes as well. Again, this is the plan that Joe Biden will be revealing in front of Congress tonight. So Joe Biden will be speaking to Congress tonight, and he will be unrolling this plan to Congress. Now, right now, this is just a plan. This is what Joe Biden wants to accomplish. And this is just the early stages. As we look at this and we see this plan and we look at what he's going to do with Congress, many aspects of this plan could actually change in order to pass it through Congress. I have no doubt that this plan could easily, as is, pass through the House. But when it gets to the Senate, that's where Joe Biden is going to have a lot more problems getting it through, because Republicans may not be on board with a lot of things in this plan. Now, when it comes to preschool, I'll say this: in terms of preschool, many Republicans are aboard with this plan, but there's many other aspects of this plan that Republicans in Congress are not necessarily on board with. So as this plan tries to get through Congress, as this $1.8 trillion package tries to get pushed and turned into law, many aspects of this plan may change in order to get it past Senate Republicans, or in order to get Senate Republicans on board to pass this bill. So guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Again, this $1.8 trillion package has a big price tag, but it's putting Americans, and again, I'm going to say it's putting Americans first. It's putting American families first. It's allowing American families to breathe a sigh of relief. And honestly, a lot of it is playing catch up with the rest of the developed world, because a lot of things in this plan are commonplace across the globe in most rich and developed nations. And with this, America would just be playing catch up with other developed nations who already have most of these programs in place. And then Joanna says, we just need to invest more in our country and take steps back in helping other countries for a while, especially during this COVID pandemic. And then Wade says, but is it though? I think it is. At the end of the day, American families need help. American families need help. Whether you like it or not, like because a lot of this is going to help low-income American families. But at the end of the day, low-income American families are just that, American families. And these things, these plans are commonplace in most developed and rich nations across the globe, and it works wonders for them. So essentially, America is playing catch up to the rest of the developed nations in this country. But if this plan is put in place, it's going to help American families. And that's why I say it's putting families first, American families first. And there's my grandmother. She pops on every single day. Thank you so much for tuning in, Grandma. And she says, great information. And then Joanna says, pandemic. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Live with Mel. And it's one more comment there. Gina Allen says, yes, this is what we need in order to help the American people. I agree with this plan that Joe Biden has. And half the country agrees with the plan. The other half, I know it's... and then Wade says, hi, Grandma. So Wade says, hi, Grandma. So this is a plan that I think is going to help the American people if it can actually be passed. Now, it has a long, long way to go, but Joe Biden will be speaking to Congress tonight to say this is the plan that he wants to put out for the American people. So we'll see what happens, guys. I will keep you updated on every step of the way about this plan. I will let you know about any major changes that happens, because I'll tell you this, there are going to be major changes to this plans in order to get it through the Senate. It will easily get through the House, no problem, but when it gets to the Senate, they're going to make changes because Democrats and Republicans have to agree, bipartisanship, in order to get it through. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see everyone bright and early tomorrow morning. Have a great day, everyone. This has been Live with Mel, and I will see each and every single one of you tomorrow morning. And Gma says, thanks, Mel, for all you do. Stay blessed and well informed. And thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for commenting. And then my grandmother also writes, love you. Love you too. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see everyone bright and early tomorrow morning. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. Whether we agree or disagree, these conversations need to be had. So if you agree with me, that's great. I like that. If you don't agree with me, let me know why. I want to know why as well, because I like that as well, because conversations need to continue to happen. Look at Wade and I. We don't agree on anything, but we are friends. So thank you so much for tuning in, Wade, and always stating your opinion. So guys, I will see everyone tomorrow morning. Have a great day. And again, this is Live with Mel.